Late 76. Ben was about 1.5. And I came down because it was the premiere of the Wild Man movie. And I came down for a friend because there was going to be a party at the Charleston Hall. And I stayed here. So first of all, I lived in a little place across from Nina's, which was called Jut 1. And it was called that because they had a fence, a corrugated iron fence, going right along the property for a little while, and it had Katajuta written on it. And then they used some of that iron to make this little shed. And the words that were left was just Jut with a bit of a 1, so it was always called Jut 1. Pretty sure it's an Aboriginal word, so it's actually Katajuta, which means many heads, or the coming together. I was living in Dannyburg. I was married. Yeah. Well, I'd just separated, but I was married to a dairy farmer. So coming down here was just the complete opposite of what I'd ever been used to. I was with a man that I really liked, and we just stayed at Jut 1, and then I met Willie, Poppy's father. Just stayed, just liked it. It was completely different to what I was doing, which I was never quite happy with. And yeah, so I just ended up staying around the area. But I have been away a lot. So went and lived in Hawke's Bay for maybe 6 years with the kids, and then moved to Christchurch because they were involved in the Steiner School by then, and that was the only place I could afford a house that was close to the Steiner School. Couldn't afford one in Hawke's Bay. Came over a lot, so when Ross's house burnt down, for example, I came and was part of we had a big party, to raise some funds for him. And I've always kept in contact with people here, and a lot of the coasters came and stayed with me in Christchurch. Lots of them. Yes, I just kept that. And then I came here after Christchurch and I rented that house next door. And then the chance came, Bob and Sandra all had been trying to sell it for years. And I had some money left over from my house in Christchurch. Yeah. Billy and I bought what was just this piece of this. And there was a chap leaving in here and he had to leave. He'd done something that wasn't part of our rules. And Billy and I bought it and opened it up, just this area here. That wasn't built. And put a veranda on, and we had Ruby's 21st birthday here. That was what we did it up for. And then we sold it to Ben. Yeah. Then one year when I started travelling in about 97, 98 maybe, I didn't want a great big house. It needed a lot, I already had spent a lot of money on it and I was over it and I wanted to sell it. Anyway, Ben just came over one day and said, "Don't worry about it, Mum, let's just swap." So we did. I love this place. Yeah, it's got a really good feel to it. So Ben filled in the veranda there and built a big garage at the back because he had a Pontiac. Like I said to Poppy one day, she said, "Mum, how did you do it?" And I said, "Well, we all had young children and it was simple. We didn't have power, and we didn't have to go to work all day or pay a mortgage, so you could just hang with your kids. It was wonderful. Yeah, it was great." I've got 2 daughters and 1 son. Yeah, he's in the middle. Yeah, they all have a connection, to here. They always say, "Let's go to the coast," and the grandchildren too, which is awesome. Yeah. Of my 7 grandchildren, 5 of them have their placentas buried around this house. Yeah, and that's really cool. I lived in Christchurch for ages, lived in Hawke's Bay, and then I started travelling once the kids left home, because I'd never travelled when I was young. I had my first child at 18. And but a highlight is always when I come back. Yeah. I've been to Guatemala, Mexico, a little bit of America. They didn't like me there. My friends that I was meant to be going to New Orleans with in Jamaica. I went with my friend and we ended up, in those days you bought a round the world ticket with KLM, it was quite cheap. And we got to Amsterdam and I said, "I've nearly run out of money, I'm going to have to go home on my return ticket." And she had a British passport and a credit card. And she said, "Well, I might stay." And then I can never remember exactly the moment, but we met someone who said, oh, just go to England, you'll get care work. So we did, and we did, 2 days later, literally, because my grandparents were born in England, so I got patriality, or matriality actually. So I kept doing that off and on for years, and I'd just get enough money to travel, mostly around Britain and Scotland. It felt like I had an attachment to Britain and Scotland because of my grandparents and that whole history. You know, like in New Zealand it's quite new, but sometimes I remember walking down these stairs and I thought, oh my God, Henry VIII or whoever it was, someone like that, you know, would have walked down here, you know, with their arm. I loved the history, and I made some nice friends there too. Came back for a while, and then my friend who still lives in Perth said, let's go and work in the outback in Australia. And I said, well, I'm up for that. So we got this job. It was hilarious. It was advertised in the press one Saturday. And we got to this place called Meekatharra. Wow. It was just an eye-opener on all levels. So I got a job in the aged care there, which was all Aboriginals except for one man, white man, and he was called Brownie. And my friend got a job at the hospital, which was sort of over the road. And we stayed there. The racism, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. And I tried to instigate a few things, like even handrails and making sure things didn't leak in the night all over their floors. And I wanted to have an open fire because that's their culture, you know, there was plenty of room. They didn't like me. Caused too many ructions. And then I wanted to get air conditioning units for people, you know, in these little huts. No, we all want them, they said. I said, yeah, we do. So I didn't go down very well because I was trying to stand up for them all. And then we went to Badgingarra to a roadhouse. It was such an experience, honestly. And that was something else. Bought a bus while I worked there, a little bus, and fitted it out. And off I went. And then I got as far as, what's it called? Shark Bay. Fabulous place. It's a World Heritage area. And I was working there, and I just stopped there and I said to a woman, oh, you don't know anywhere I could pick up a bit of work, you know, because petrol was really expensive and it was a long way. And she said, you can start here if you like. So I stayed there for ages, and that was fun. I even, you know, you were talking about singing. I joined the choir. I can't sing, but it was fun. Joined the softball team and did all that sort of thing, you know, and had a lovely time. We are a community, but we're individuals in that community. So, you know, like, of course, we've all got our own home. So originally we all pitched in and made bread together and, you know, gathered firewood and all that. Now we all do our own trip pretty much, but we help each other. But one of the things that's taught me is being part of a group is working things out where everyone's happy, you know. So we're consensus, so we all have to agree. Sometimes that's really difficult. But we do it, and we've always done it, and that's our strength. So we've had things happen over the last few years that has tested us big time, and our strength is we're all on the same page. Keeping what we believe in, our constitution and our community agreement foremost, and sticking by it. The main one is to live in harmony with the land and the people on it, and that sums it all up for me. As a group, you have to hear every voice and listen to what they have to say, whether you disagree or not, you know, to get everyone's opinion. And if I moved away, I think that would be the hardest part, because you don't make new old friends.